everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial, full face, so I wanted to use this new palette that I had received in my Boxycharm. It's the Pur Midnight Masquerade face palette. Kind of wanted to test it out, the products that were in here, so we are just going to have a dabble with some of these snazzy eyeshadows and some of these face products here and see how they work out for me. So as you can see, my hair is wet, just got out of the shower, like normal. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my face routine. I already have a clean face and everything. I'm trying something new, so I sprayed on the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, chamomile, and lavender. So I'm spraying that on before moisturizer or anything, just for an added layer of hydration. And next I'm going to go in with my Belief, the True Cream Aqua Bomb that I've been using as a moisturizer, and kind of just moisturize all over my face. I don't know if it's showing, but I am actually exhausted today. I woke up pretty early and went to an 8:30 boxing class, and then that was from 8:30 to 9:30, and then after that I trained with a trainer that is also a close friend, and I hadn't trained with her in, it's been years since I've actively trained with her, so this was our first session, kind of getting back into things, and she killed me. So I'm just actually exhausted, so sorry if I seem a little bit off. For foundation, or no, we're gonna go into primer. For primer, which one? Okay, let's use the Catrice Prime and Fine Smoothing Refiner, and it is just a little balm, and I'm just going to focus this primarily on my nose and cheeks, and then kind of just spread a little bit on my forehead and just everywhere else that foundation goes. Since this is a pore minimizing foundation, I like to focus it primarily where I've got the most visible pores, and then just kind of lightly get the primer everywhere else. So far I've really felt like this has been a pretty effective primer. I don't have any complaints, and I really like the way it feels when it's going on the skin. It's very smoothing. I can't really say that I've noticed an incredible pore minimizing feature to it, but I definitely like the way it feels and like how smoothly it allows the foundation to go on after this. So nothing but positive thoughts on this, and it's pretty inexpensive too, so that's always nice. For foundation, I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution Fast Base Stick Foundation, and it looks like this. I have the shade here F3, and I'm just going to put this on my skin. It's a very soft, creamy foundation, and I've really liked the way that it's kind of given me some full coverage looks. I just kind of dab a little bit on, and I create like an infinity symbol on my forehead, because I feel like that kind of gets the best amount of product on my forehead. Really you could do anything, but I just kind of like drawing something on because there's something about that that makes it a little bit more fun. I'm using my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush to blend this on in. I like to use a brush with stick foundations more than the Beauty Blender, because I feel like you really have to rub these in, and I feel like you can still get a pretty decent look with a Beauty Blender, but I think it just looks a little bit better when you're using a brush versus the sponge for these, stick foundations. Okay, for under eye concealer, I'm sure you guys guessed it, I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. Just put a little bit of this underneath my eyes, and I actually do have a pimple right here that I'm going to cover a little bit as well. I'm getting close to that time of the month, and I tell you, that takes a toll on my skin for sure. I feel much better already. I feel like all day I have just looked absolutely dead. I know that this is still quite the work in progress and I look incredibly muted right now, but I gotta tell you, I'm already feeling better, looking better than I have been all day long. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my under eyes with my Rimmel Stay Matte loose powder. Is this transparent? Yes, this is transparent. So this doesn't really have a shade. I have found this powder to be nothing but amazing. So 10 out of 10 would recommend this. Where is my brush? Ah, there it is. I'm going to use my Real Techniques setting brush and focus this primarily under my eyes and a little bit around my T-zone as well. And I like to really pat it into the skin versus doing like a dusting, and I feel like it kind of does a better job versus like just dusting around, just really like patting it in. I don't know, that could just be me and my imagination. I'm gonna go ahead and get into this bad boy for the face products that we've got here. I'm gonna use this as my highlighter, this is my blush. I'm gonna try out this bad boy as my contour shade. As you can see, they're really pretty colors. They do have some shimmer to all three of these shades, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work, especially for the bronzer. For the highlight, I'm not worried about it at all, but we're going to see. Let's see, what brush do I want to use for blush? Okay, I'm going to use my Real Techniques blush brush and just kind of dip into the color. I'm going to tap off any excess. I don't really see any, but I'd always really rather get the excess off and then kind of build up more color versus like going in blind and just trying to blend it all out. It's just easier. I'm going to get this on my cheeks. Oh, that's pretty. It's bright for sure, but that is pretty. It's a very pretty color. I'm just kind of turning the brush around where it doesn't have as much product to kind of blend it out a little bit, because it's going to be real easy to get too much of this, but I definitely think it adds like a nice rosiness to the cheeks. Digging it. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, alright. Alright, I'm going to try and go ahead and just warm up the skin a little bit with this bronzer shade. I'm going to take a fluffy brush, this is just an EcoTools powder brush, and see how this works. Not really so much as a contour, just something to kind of warm up the skin a little bit. It's very, very pigmented, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to kind of go in and kind of neutralize some of this with my foundation brush again. It's definitely very pigmented and I'm so pale. It is a darker shade for me, but it's pretty and it has a great color payoff. There's really not any fallout with these, and you just need the lightest touch and there's a really fantastic color payoff. So I'm definitely enjoying that with these. But let's see how the final one does, and arguably the most important, this highlight right here. It's super, super pretty in the pan, so I have high hopes for it. I'm using just a rounded soft blend brush from Mint Pear. And let's see. Ooh, that's so pretty. Yeah. That adds just like the softest glow. Oh gosh, that's so nice. Wowza. Color me impressed with these face products. Although I gotta be honest with you guys, I have yet to receive a palette from Boxycharm that I have not just absolutely 110% loved. So really digging this, the face side at least. So these four colors are fantastic. I think I'm gonna try and use this one in my eyeshadow look today. There's a pretty similar color on the other side, but you know what? Just gonna roll with it. I have no idea what I'm gonna look, or what kind of look I'm gonna do with my eyes though. I really like the silver, okay, let's see here. I really like the silver shade. I like the blue toned color and the pink a lot. The green is very pretty, but I'm not like one to wear a lot of greens, so I'm thinking the blue and the silver primarily. Let's do it. This doesn't really have really a transition shade in it. They've only, like I said in the unboxing video, they've only got one matte, and it's that guy right there, and it's a very dark chocolatey brown. I'd say I'd go in with one of the face shades, but they're all shimmery. So I'm going to pull a matte brown from a palette that I already have, as you guys I'm sure are thinking. It is the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells, just with a fluffy blending brush. But before I do that, I'm going to prime my eyelids. Oh, and the primer that I used was the Catrice Prime and Fine. I've absolutely been loving this one, so 10 out of 10 would recommend this as well. I've really been enjoying both my Catrice primers, so that's been really fantastic. Now I'm going to go in with this matte brown and a fluffy blending brush and just kind of start off the look with this. Alright, so like I said, I really want to focus this look with this blue and silver and maybe a little bit of that purpley shade. I'm thinking really the blue and silver though. Let's start off using a flat brush. This is just a Morphe brush. I'm going to, maybe, I was like, where's the spray? I'm going to spray it with the Flower Beauty Seal the Deal Hydrating Setting Spray. People use MAC Fix Plus, people use XYZ, I just use spray. You could literally use water. Some other YouTubers talk about just using their tongue, like wetting the brush by licking it. Totally can do that. For sanitary reasons, I probably wouldn't, but you know, in a pinch, it'll do. So I'm gonna pack this on the lid. I did have to tap off the excess, so that's something to be mindful of. But guys, let me zoom you in a little bit more. Do you see how pigmented the silver is? Like, this is nutso. Okay, so let's do that on that inner half, and then we'll go in with the blue after this. Okay, so I'm definitely going to need to clean up a little bit with my left eye here. But seriously, these shades are so pigmented. I'm shocked. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to use the blue on the other half of my lid, I'm thinking. And then the brown in my crease, maybe? I think. Okay, so I'm going to do the blue that's in here. This shade right there. Oh gosh. Okay, yes, this one. And I'm going to take another flat shadow brush. This is just one from Alamar. And I'm not going to use this wet, see how it performs, but I'm just going to put this on the outer half of the lid. Oh boy, I tapped off the excess and there is still fallout. I'm just kind of gently going over the silver a little bit, and we'll go back in with the silver, but to kind of preemptively get rid of any harsh lines. Going back in with that brush that I used the silver with, and just gonna go over the two shades to, like I said, get rid of any of the harsh lines. And sometimes what I like to do isn't like, this isn't just like a one and done type deal. I'll go in with the silver at first, then I'll add the blue, then I'll go back in with the silver brush, then I'll go back to the blue brush. Like, it's just a back and forth type thing. So it's not something that you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, done, and moving on to the next step. Like, this is something that's gonna take a while. So take your time with it and you'll get the best result. I'm gonna go ahead and sweep off this excess because it really kind of bothers me. So I'm gonna do it with a fluffy brush. So this is my e.l.f. complexion brush. Ooh, okay, yep, gonna need to touch up my foundation a little bit. It's the blue that had the biggest issues with the fallout. I don't know if you guys can see it here, but I'm definitely a little bit more blue than I was. I'm blue. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and use this matte, this matte brown right here. Maybe it'll focus, maybe not. Only the Lord knows. Okay, yep, that middle matte brown. And I am going to use a fluffy crease brush and just go right into my crease with it. Focusing it on the outer, really the outer third of the crease. And then I'll kind of blend it out with a clean brush in a hot second. Like I said, I definitely would tap off the excess, but I don't think like the fallout's ridiculous. I think it's pretty, typical with eyeshadow shades. I don't think it's anything abhorrent or anything like that, so just be mindful to tap off the excess, which is literally something that I do with every single eyeshadow, so it's not anything crazy. Do y'all ever feel like you're like, I did it right with one eye, and then with the other eye you're like, what was I doing? I feel like that frequently. It's typically my right eye that I feel like I'm doing the best with, because it's like, this is my dominant side, my right side, so it all makes sense, and then because I have to cross with my left, it's bad news bears sometimes. But, I tend to make it work, normally. Not all the time. Now I'm going to blend this out. I'm just going to use a fluffy blending brush. This is just a Real Techniques, it's a deluxe crease brush, but it also performs the job of a blending brush. I like that. Like I'm kind of digging the way that this is all coming together. These shadows are nicely pigmented. Very nicely pigmented. Alright, so my camera ran out of space, but all I ended up doing was taking that same blue shade and putting it on my lower lash line as well. And I'm going to go ahead and line my waterline with my Makeup Forever Aqua XL M-10 liner. Line my upper lash line with this Wet n Wild Felt Tip liner in black. And use the Wonder Beauty Unleashed Volume and Curl Mascara. And I will be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and did my brows as well, and I just used my e.l.f. brow pencil. What is it called? It's literally called the e.l.f. brow pencil, and I have neutral brown in this. And then this is really the finished look. I'm going to zoom out a little. But yeah, I hope you guys, like it. I really enjoyed this palette. For lips, I'm going to do something pretty simple. I'm just going to use my Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit Matte Lipstick in the shade Pink Really Hard. This is the finished look. This palette is fantastic. I don't know if any of you have been thinking about getting this palette, but I really loved all of the products. The eyeshadows and the face products were really excellent quality. They all blended out beautifully. They weren't patchy. They didn't have a lot of fallout, a little bit, but not too much, not an unbearable amount. So I'm really impressed with this palette. This again is the Pur Midnight Masquerade face palette. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about anything from this video, please leave those in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave to stay up to date